What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on my brother's Integra, and right now I'm driving the car because I'm really trying to understand what he was telling me about all the suspension creaks, and there are some loud creaking in this car. Just driving this car straight, it squeaks on all four corners, and when I hit a dip, you can clearly hear the squeak. I'm not sure if you guys can pick it up here in the camera, but my brother wanted me to kind of like go underneath his car and figure out if there's any bushings or shocks or anything that needs to be replaced, and he'll buy the stuff accordingly for me to change it all out. This is actually my niece's car. It's automatic, and this is for her to like drive to school and work. Right now, she's not going to school or work, so we figured just get the car buttoned up and have it all ready for her when she's ready to hit the road. I don't know if you guys can hear the creaking. It's pretty bad. I do hear like the exhaust rattling in the back. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Maybe a rubber hanger or something is like worn out or something, that the muffler is kind of drooping a little bit. But we're gonna dive into this car today and just figure out what all needs to be changed out. Right now I'm currently headed to In-N-Out Burger because it's been like a year that I've been there, and last night I was playing Warzone and the word Flying Dutchman came about, and I was like, Flying Dutchman? That sounds kind of bomb right now. So I'm gonna go grab some Flying Dutchmans, and then we'll get back to the garage and start diving into the suspension of this car. Guys, listen to this squeak when I hit the speed bump. Listen to this. Yo, the squeak is so bad. One more time, one more time. Got my food, and I'm also noticing that the car, when you let go of the steering wheel, it goes to the right. It goes to the right. So that's noted. So we're back home, and I noticed that the car rides like a boat, and the rear suspension dips a lot. So let me show you guys how much this thing bounces. Now, before I dive into the car, I do need to do musical chairs here on the driveway so we can work on the Integra up front and also clear up the space for the Integra that's coming in tomorrow for the MaXpeedingRod turbo kit installation. Now, you guys know we use a lot of MaXpeedingRod products here in the channel, especially their suspension. I've used the gray, the yellow, the red, the T5 a couple of times, and recently a lot of their MaXpeedingRod T7 coilovers. They're great for like lowering your car, damping adjustability. They're great for racing. We've done drag, we've done a little back road driving. Haven't really done circuit to really know how it feels. But for those who do not want to lower their car, but you need to replace your suspension, do you guys know that MaXpeedingRod has OE style strut and spring combo? Yep. They sure definitely do. And in today's video, I want to give a big shout out to MaXpeedingRod for sending over a set to replace my brother's Integra. Now, they do have it for a lot of make and models. I haven't really seen it for the Integra, but if you guys are a Honda head, you guys know the golden era Hondas, a lot of their suspension stuff is so-and-so interchangeable. So the 92-95 set that we have here on the floor, the brown boxes, are for the EG chassis, but they are interchangeable with the Integra. Now, most suspension components do go through a stress test, kind of like an R&D, which they should. And apparently these shocks have been going through a ton of like pressure tests for long durations to ensure that it's gonna last long term without any type of leakage or premature wear and tear. We're really gonna find out in this video, because once I get them installed, we're gonna go for a drive again. These boxes came taped together, so 4 full struts and spring combo. They are pretty heavy. Remember guys, cut away from yourself, not towards yourself. We have an installation instruction right here, a little pamphlet that kind of tells you all the bolts and stuff you need to access to remove, which, you know, we've done this 1,000 times, but it's nice that they included that. This right here is the rear strut assembly, which has the little fork on the bottom. Ooh, there we go. Man, smooth. It feels good. Now, I don't know the spring rates between the Civic and Integra, coupe to a 4-door, but we're really gonna find out. So this right here is the rear. We have the second one right there. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the table now. Flip this box around. All right, so these are the fronts. If you guys didn't know, the Integra front fork and the EG are about the same. They are the same diameter. So again, this should slip into the Integra fork and bolt up because the top pads are also the same, right? So this right here is the front, looking nice and smooth. Man, this thing's got some weight to it. All right, let's get these out of the box and also onto the table. Musical chairs, and then we're gonna jack up the Integra to start swapping the suspension. There's a little bulge in the radius support right here. That's where you put your jack if you want to jack it up centered. Otherwise, you can use the tow hooks on the side right here. Using the big boy 6-ton. Did you guys know that the wheel is a good seat to sit on? Right there. Quick little inspection while we are down here. My brother did do the brakes and rotor when he bought the car, so they are still fairly new. I do notice that the shield is rubbing up on the rotor, so that might make some squealy noises right there. And up here, the ball joint, man, this thing looks factory. Like, it looks like the original stuff, and it is crusty, but it is not torn, so I'm not too concerned with it. Now, the correct way is to get a pry bar and just kind of shake everything around to see if anything is moving or flexing, and I'll do that in a moment. But just quick visual: no tears, no rips. Inner tie rod boot, yep, completely gone. This right here, tie rod completely gone. Sway bar bushings, they are kind of cracked. I can see all the crack and might be separating a little bit right there. If you guys remember this car, I worked on it like a few months ago. I got bapped on, I believe, the driver's side and bent the lower control arm and stuff. So all the control arm on the other side is brand new. This side is still the original one. So I don't know if this is something he wants to change to match the other side. If you guys look at the LCA bushing right here, completely cracked. Like, this LCA, if you want to drive nice and straight like the other side, I would replace it. Ball joint has some stress cracks, but not like fully torn up. But if we're gonna work on this car a different day to change all the lower suspension and bushings, we'll probably just do the entire 9 all together. I did just talk to him right now before he took off on his bike that before you do the alignment, after this inspection, you know, change all the component out, then do the alignment. Because like I mentioned, this car does go to the right a little bit when you let go of the steering wheel. So that's for the passenger side. Let's go ahead and knock this shock out. So there's two 14 mils on the top right here. There's a 14 mil in the back right here. That's for the fork. There's a 17 right here in the bottom and the other side, right? And then if it's a stock factory setup, it's always going to have the 12 mil for the brake line, one right here, and then one in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and just take all that off and remove this strut. All right, guys, so I have the front left and the front right taken off. Show you guys a little comparison before we put the new ones in. So from the looks of it, it's almost identical. Like the spring, the amount of coils is about the same. This top hat is a little bit thicker, but the same for the most part, same configuration. And if I line up the top hat together, so and so, the Civic shock is a little bit longer, right? So that means it's going to give us a little bit more height, which is okay, because you got to think about when it compresses, right? The old shocks that are, you know, riding like a boat, when this is compressed, it's going to compress more because it's so worn down. This is new with it compressed. It shouldn't be much more taller than what the factory one was. So for the most part, it looks good. It looks good. The cool thing is, it says right here, front left, front right. Let's go ahead and get these installed. So we have the driver's side strut installed, and the strut actually comes with its own brand new nuts, and these are actually 15 millimeters instead of the factory 14. And if you really wanted to keep it the OE, they are the same thread pattern, so you can use your OEM hardware if you wanted to, right? Underneath here we have the strut obviously installed, and the mounting for the brake lines are in the exact location as the Integra shocks, because these are for the EGs, and these are all bolted up. The 17 in the bottom bolted, 14. Very important to make sure the slot on the back of the strut sits in the fork itself. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So on the fork itself, it has a slit, and it is actually meant for this little tab right here. This aligns the strut into the fork, so that way this groove can fit onto the groove on the fork to be able to bolt your 14 millimeter through to squeeze and secure the strut onto the fork itself. Very important. Let me show you guys on the fork side. Right here on the fork, you can see a little slit right there. Make sure the groove of the strut goes into the groove of the fork. Passenger side strut assembly all installed, and before I wrap it up for the front side, I'm gonna go ahead and get an Allen, and I want to say that's a 14, and make sure these guys are also tight. All right, these are actually tight out of the box. Well, that's a plus. Just about the same ride height as it was before. Oh wow, it's not as squishy as the old strut assembly. Oh dude, this thing does not rebound like the one we took out of the car, so that's a plus. And I'm hoping that the rear strut is going to fix the bounce in the rear as well too. Let's go ahead and flip the car around. I have a wheel chock right there in the front, and I am jacking up the car from the rear tow hitch right there. Let's get this thing up on jack stands. So I have the passenger rear strut taken out right here. This one's a little more simpler than the front. It has two 14s on the top and one 14 bolt on the bottom. Now, typically on a stock strut, sometimes you have to take off the camber bolt to get a little more wiggle room out of it, right? To pull it out, because obviously it's super tall. On a coilover system, as soon as you drop the two on the top, you'll have plenty of space to pop the strut out without removing the camber. So I access the two nut on the top from the back side, flip the seat down, and then pull a little carpet back. You have the two nuts right there. Same on the other side. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that one off right now. Quick little inspection, camber arm. You can see all the bushings are starting to tear. It's not completely detached, but you can see it's starting to tear a little bit, or at least I can. Little control arms. You guys probably can't see it, but it's twisted right there. Over here, can't really tell, but this one right here looks not detached, but definitely wear and tear. Trailing on bushings. These guys are shot. Can you guys see that? That right there is gonna give you a lot of like rebound. So trailing arms are shot. Okay, well, typically if you're already changing one side, you may as well do them in pairs, right? So now I can report back to my brother, let him know what all I would change out, which in this case, lower control arm, camber, trailing arm bushing. I can't see the toe because it's really tucked up there, but we already checked out the front suspension, so I'll give him a list and he can order all of that. Typically, I'll just buy it at Rock Auto and just wait for it to show up. And then when it shows up, we can just overhaul the suspension again. I've shown you guys the front and how similar it was, and the rear. Now comparing the two, this one has like a different coil of springs on the top. I'm not sure if this is like a coupe or hatch versus like sedan, but that is what I noticed differently. It's cool that the top hat on the new ones come with this little rubber on the top, which is kind of like what the OEM one has. So that's cool. They kind of kept it the same. As far as the height goes, by eyeball, it looks near identical. The fork width looks about the same. I noticed that the bottom of the strut does not have a nut welded to it, so you have to use a nut and bolt system, which honestly is not a big deal, but it'll be more convenient if they just put a nut on there, so that way you can just, you know, use the factory hardware instead of extras. But because these guys came with their own nuts on the top, we'll just use the factory one, which is threaded for the 14 mil, and just use that to secure it down. Other than that, pretty much the same. So let's go ahead and get these suckers put back on. And it doesn't say left or right side because there's no nut on here, but if it was, it'd be directional. Got the wheels put back on, and I was moving these struts over there because I don't know what I'm going to do with these yet. And these bushings on the top are a shot. Yeah, they are a shot. Good thing we're changing them out. As I was putting the wheels on, I noticed that the exhaust is like crooked to the bumper. You guys see that? That's not normal. Now, I kind of question the way the clear coat peeled on this car when my brother got it. And we've had this for a couple of years now. And I told my brother, I was like, this doesn't look like a factory paint job. And what the heck? I've always had a concern about if this car had been in an accident or whatever. And I just couldn't really tell. Ooh, that's a Black Widow. But, what the heck? What the? I'm not entirely sure what the heck is going on here. Why there's two hanger system and it's bolted at the highest point, and the rubber actually isn't even doing anything because it's all metal wedged. What the heck? That's weird. It is fully stock, so what's going on here? I'm not sure. So the exhaust is now straightened back up in the bumper. I took a pry bar and just kind of wedged it to pull the exhaust back to clear it from being hung up on each other. So if you look, it's actually been there for a cool minute because this thing has been grinding in. So I don't know if this car had been low at one point, hit the exhaust, like if you ran something over, shifted the exhaust up and got hooked up, or if it got hit this way and rebound, got hooked up, I don't know. But now the exhaust has some play, and hopefully we don't hear that rattling noise that it was doing earlier when we drove it this morning. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get this car back on the ground and let's see how this suspension feels. All right, that looks good. That looks good. Let's go ahead and do this rebound test real quick. Oh, it's way stiffer. I can definitely feel my upper body tense up when I'm pressing down on the rear. All right, let's go for a little drive. I'm gonna set you guys up on the headrest on the passenger seat. Hopefully you guys can hear everything. Right off the bat, I don't hear the exhaust rattling in the back anymore, so that's a plus. I'm not gonna drive to a store to run over some speed bumps to kind of mimic the noise that I was doing earlier, but I am gonna drive over the curb over here to load up the suspension to see if we can hear those squeaky noises. I heard a little bit in the front, but mind you guys, brand new suspension, so it does need a little bit of break-in. There's a curb right here that I'm gonna kind of run over real quick. Oh, not shabby. Oh, a little squeak in the back. Not bad. There is a little speed bump right here. I'm about to hit it right now. A little squeak. The rattling is coming from the phone holder right here. I will say that driving straight, running over the curb, doing those little U-turns I just did, the car doesn't feel like as saggy as it was. It actually feels a little more firmer. I'm gonna take this turn right here to see if I can get a little bit of body roll in. Sorry, I took that a little too hard. It kind of threw you guys. I'm gonna hit this bump right here one more time. We hear a little squeak in the front, but the rear does not have any more squeaks. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the driveway at a little bit of a JDM slant. Yeah, the little squeaky noise is still in the front, but the back, again, I don't really hear it. What the heck? I drove around the block with the freaking flashlight still up there. That's funny. All right, guys, we're about wrapped up here in the garage. We installed the new MaXpeedingRod OE strut replacement in my brother's Integra, although I didn't mention that they were for the EG, the 92-95 Civic. But Honda heads, you guys know they're all interchangeable, and you guys saw in today's video that we bolted it up entirely using all the hardware, including the brake lines. I'm literally looking at the MaXpeedingRod website behind you guys, and they have it for a lot of making models. The EGs, the EKs, the EMs. I see it for the 8th gen, 9th gen, TSX. If they had it for the Integra, they probably would have sent me the Integra ones, but I'm not sure if it's in there yet. There are 9+ pages of their catalog, and if you guys are interested in wanting to replace your blown OE strut with another set of OE struts, be sure to check out MaXpeedingRods. Link in the description below. I'll link it for the entire catalog for all the make and models, and also the one that we use in today's video. The price is crazy, but if you guys use the discount code at the checkout, you will save an extra 10%. And yeah, we're gonna report back with you guys, man. We're gonna report back with you guys on how the suspension is gonna perform after a couple of 1,000 miles. I want to give a big thank you to MaXpeedingRod once again for coming on board and supporting the channel. For all the budget builders out there, man, I encourage you guys to check out the website. I've used a lot of their stuff on the channel, and if you guys just go to the search bar on my actual page and type in MaXpeedingRod, you guys will see a ton of stuff that I've used throughout the years that I've been very successful with. I went to the PO box yesterday and I got one package I want to open up with you guys really quickly. Whatever is in this package feels very, very familiar, but I don't know what's inside. So let's go ahead and just cut this open real quick. Be sure to cut away from yourself, not towards yourself. There we go. One more right here. A gift for you. Bro, thought that you could really use this. I used the same one I did on my rear disc conversion on my 97 CRV from I Am the Critical Gamer. Oh, hey, Critical Gamer, thank you for sending out another package. This right here is a 2-in-1 brake bleeder kit. Oh, that's why it feels very familiar. From just carrying the package, I was very familiar with the shape of what was inside, although there's so many tools out there that shares the same case. But now just reading the description right here in the front, I kind of want to say I already have this, but let's see what's inside. I sure definitely do. I'm not sure if you've watched the videos really thoroughly, but I literally just read, but I don't know if you watch the video on your phone or if you watch it on the big screen, but I literally just used this on my wagon bleeding the clutch and the brake system. But the kit belongs to my brother, although it's for everybody to use here in the garage. Let me grab it real quick. Same box? Same box? Same kit? I think so. But honestly though, I really do truly appreciate you even considering sending out something like this or anything to the P.O. box, and not just you, Critical Gamer, but everybody else who has been in the last couple of years. I appreciate you guys more than you know, and you know, sometimes it doesn't hurt to have more than one of the same tools. With how clumsy I am, I do tend to break these eventually, and you know, having a backup will not stop me from doing the job that we need to do. Anyways guys, we're gonna wrap it up for this video. Both my memory and my battery is on yellow. It's about to die. I hope you guys enjoyed today's update on the MaXpeedingRod OE suspension installation on my brother's Integra. If you guys did, be sure to leave a thumbs up, and if you guys want to stick around for the Turbo Integra build, which the car is coming here tomorrow, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.